5 Navy aircraft, clear skies, a routine training mission, and suddenly the world beneath them bends into confusion. Lieutenant Charles Taylor radios the control tower, voice tight with panic. "We cannot be sure where we are. Everything is wrong, even the ocean." Seconds later, another pilot cuts in. "We can't find West. Everything looks strange." By nightfall, all 5 planes vanish. The rescue aircraft sent to find them disappears too. This is Flight 19, the moment that turned one stretch of the Atlantic into the most famous mystery zone on Earth, the Bermuda Triangle. But the real story is not what people think. It is deeper, stranger, and far more human than the legend ever explains. Because the Bermuda Triangle did not begin as a mystery. It began as a misunderstanding. In 1950, a newspaper published a small article listing a cluster of disappearances between Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico. No pattern, no scientific claim, just unanswered questions. 2 years later, a paranormal magazine decided to draw a triangle around the region. 3 points, 3 lines. No research. But it was simple. It was dramatic. And once the world saw that shape, the legend became unstoppable. Suddenly, ordinary vanishings were woven together into one enormous mystery, and people began searching backward for clues. One of the earliest came from Christopher Columbus in 1492. His crew saw a fire drop into the sea. Their compass drifted. A distant light hovered above the water. Later, these became proof that the triangle was dangerous. But each had a natural explanation. The fire was almost certainly a meteor, common in September. The compass drift was magnetic declination, and the floating light appeared just hours before land was spotted, likely a torch from people living on nearby islands. But none of these events happened inside what we now call the Bermuda Triangle. The legend simply absorbed them because they sounded mysterious. The real catalyst came in 1945. Flight 19 launched for a simple navigation exercise. It should have taken only a few hours. Instead, the lead pilot, Charles Taylor, began doubting his instruments. He believed he was flying above the Florida Keys when in reality he was above the Bahamas. Once that mistake took hold, every attempt to correct it sent the formation farther from land. Fuel dropped. Sunlight faded. And the final radio messages turned frantic. "We may have to ditch any minute." Then silence. Minutes later, a rescue plane designated ST-49 took off. It sent one routine message and then vanished. Witnesses reported a fireball slamming into the sea. Flames, smoke, oil burning on the waves. No survivors. 6 aircraft. 27 men. No wreckage ever recovered. It was the perfect storm for a legend, but Flight 19 was only the beginning. In 1948, a passenger plane called the Star Tiger vanished while approaching Bermuda. The next year, its sister plane, the Star Ariel, disappeared on a clear day without a distress call. 2 aircraft, same airline, same region, same eerie silence. Then came the most haunting mystery of all. In 1921, the Carroll A. Deering, a massive 5-masted ship, was found aground off North Carolina. Dinner was set on the table. Cabins were untouched, but the lifeboats were gone. The logbook had vanished, and the steering gear had been smashed apart deliberately. Just hours earlier, another ship was seen tailing behind it. When hailed, the crew hid its nameplate and sped away. Mutiny was possible. Piracy was possible. But the crew of the Deering was never found. These were the stories that cemented the triangle as a global phenomenon. Different years, different vessels. Same chilling lack of answers. But then came the twist that changed everything. When scientists finally mapped every incident linked to the Bermuda Triangle, the pattern collapsed. Many of the disappearances happened nowhere near the triangle. Some cases occurred hundreds of kilometers outside it. One plane vanished near Maryland, one near Nova Scotia, one far south of the Bahamas. If you included every disappearance used to support the legend, the triangle would have to stretch across half the Atlantic. The real explanations were not supernatural. They were environmental and brutally simple. This region sits in an area of magnetic declination that confused early navigators. It lies directly in the path of storms that explode into hurricanes. The Gulf Stream, one of the fastest-moving currents on Earth, sweeps away debris long before search crews arrive. And millions of ships and planes travel through this corridor every year. More traffic means more incidents, even if the incident rate is normal. Most vanishings have clear causes. Navigation mistakes, mechanical failures, sudden storms, fuel exhaustion, pirate attacks, weak radio equipment, poor maintenance. Human errors that snowballed at the worst possible time. But here is the reason the legend survived. A few cases still feel eerie. The Star Ariel vanished in perfect weather. The Carroll A. Deering looked abandoned in a hurry. Some aircraft never broadcast distress calls despite having working radios. These rare outliers are enough to keep the mystery alive because they hit something deeper than logic. They remind us that the ocean does not give second chances. The truth is not supernatural, it is worse. The ocean is vast, it is violent, and once it takes something, it rarely gives it back. The Bermuda Triangle was never a curse. It was a legend built from storms, human mistakes, scattered wreckage, and stories that spread faster than facts. The real mystery was never in the water. It was in the way people connected the dots. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more mapped out videos.